Is this bottle one of Kilchoman's finest? We've got the new 13-year-old with us today. We'll be reviewing it. I'm Jeff. This is G Whiskey. Stick around. All right, so Lucky 13, we're looking at the new Kilchoman 13-year-old today. Kilchoman is a relatively new distillery. They've been around for about 20 years now. So they are young, but not so young that they can't start giving us some decent age statements. And recently they have been doing that more and more. Lately we had these fancy releases. It's a slew of different age statements. Last year we had a 16-year-old release, to which this 13-year-old is the follow-up. This year's Loch Gorm, the 2025 Loch Gorm, is a 10-year-old. So yeah, nice to see more and more age statements from them. Last year when they dropped that 16-year-old, I was really interested to try it, but A, it didn't show up in my market, and B, it was expensive, man. It was like 200 pounds or something like that. And listen, Kilchoman, I love you, but calm down. Luckily, the 13-year-old is more affordable. Obviously, it's younger, so yes, it should be cheaper. But yeah, it is substantially cheaper. We'll get to value later, but it was affordable enough for me to want to give it a go. Our casks here are bourbon octaves, and interestingly, Calvados casks. Now, Calvados, if you don't know, is a type of brandy. It's apple brandy, and it can actually work well with whiskey. Then again, I've only ever had like 2 Calvados matured whiskeys, so take that opinion with a grain of salt. Point is, I am coming into this open-minded, and if I learned anything about myself on my last trip to Bangkok, I will try just about anything. Put it this way, if Calvados is anything like other types of brandy casks, maybe like cognac casks or Armagnac casks, then I'm going to be 100% on board. I absolutely love brandy casks and their influence on whiskey, particularly peated whiskeys. So yeah, the hopes are high for this one. I think this one's going to be a good one. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into our review. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. So this one comes in at a healthy 50% ABV, and like all other Kilchomans, it's going to be natural color and non-chill filtered. For look, I do actually like the look of this bottle. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it looks good. I like the blue label. I like the gold accents. I like that we have the age statement front and center. Kilchoman is not my favorite style of bottle, but I do always talk about how I live in an earthquake zone, so squat bottles are a little bit kind of useful for me. I do appreciate that they're a little bit more sturdy. This bottle will get 3.5 out of 5. This does say non-chill filtered and natural color. It doesn't mention the casks, or at least not on the label. It might be on the box. I threw the box out. But we do get some tasting notes on the back. All the crucial information is there, and the bottle looks okay. On the nose, this is smoky, lots of intense peat. We get some bright citrus in here, kind of like a lemon cake sweetness. Now, Kilchoman is not one of your more coastal leaning distilleries on Islay, but I do get some sort of salty maritime notes in this. Behind that, we have this brightness that may be from the Calvados cask. I want to say there's like an apple note in here. So I will. There's an apple note in here, kind of like a green apples. And along with that, we also get some grilled pineapple and some guava. Very nice nose. On the palate and finish, this gives us a nice arrival. It's very full, it's very mouth coating, but it's interestingly not too aggressive up front. In fact, it's a very sort of gradual build-up of intensity. This goes more ashy than the nose suggested. I love that Kilchoman ashiness. It kind of defines the brand for me. And there's also some wonderful oaky notes in here. There's also this kind of like campfire or fire pit note in here, which I think is really interesting. By the way, if you're into spicy food, highly recommend eating a campfire. They are delicious. Just make sure you bring along some Tums. Finally, we get some tart citrus and green apples as we move into the finish, along with some lingering smoke and a touch of savory meatiness. This is really nice. All right, so if the tasting notes didn't give it away, if my demeanor didn't give it away, this stuff is pretty good. Is it as good as I was hoping it would be for my first sort of like age-stated Kilchoman? Yeah. This is a Kilchoman through and through, but the extra age has elevated the experience, if I may be so pretentious. It's gentler around the edges without compromising on intensity. Now, personally speaking, I do appreciate a bit of age in whiskey. I wouldn't call myself an age snob, and I don't need everything to be like 18 or 21 years old, but I don't think there's any denying that age does work a certain magic with whiskey, and it does bother me that there's a lot of no age stated, especially peated whiskeys out there that are just far too young. Actually, you know what? Bother's a strong word. They don't bother me. I just don't buy them. There's a lot of people out there who like that really punchy, in-your-face, young flavor of peat, but it's never really been for me. I just happen to prefer things that are more settled, more mature, more sophisticated. Does that make me better than you? Maybe. My issue with a lot of these younger peaty whiskeys is that they're too sharp, they're too hot, and I often get this kind of like cardboard papery note, which for me is a turnoff. Also, I just don't really feel the need to have every peated whiskey cranked all the way up to maximum intensity. I do think there's a time and a place for that, but I don't need it every time. And listen, as we all know, age can sort of soften peat. So has that happened here? To that, I would say yes, it has, but not too much. So if you want that Kilchoman intensity, it's still here. Ultimately, I think if you're a fan of the brand, if you like other Kilchomans, you are going to like this one. As I said earlier, it's a bit softer around the edges. The arrival is calmer, it's more gradual, but I think that does give the whiskey a certain charisma, charm, whatever. Also, the way I'm talking makes it sound like it's this old, mature whiskey. It's only 13 years old. It's not as mature or refined as something even like the Lagavulin 16, which you can find everywhere. It's still got plenty of youth, plenty of vibrancy, plenty of intensity, so definitely not old, but yes, older than what you're used to from Kilchoman. Basically, all of that was a roundabout way of saying that this 13-year-old whiskey tastes like a 13-year-old whiskey, but a very good one. Also, I do think the cask play was good here. I'm always a fan of using ex-bourbon casks. The quieter, the better, and I do think the Calvados added something here. As I said earlier, I love brandy casks. When I say that, I'm usually talking about grape brandy. I love the flavors that they add. But in this case, the Calvados does seem to be adding something similar. Obviously, the flavors are different. This is more appley, which tracks, but what it does is that it adds these gentle flavors to the whiskey, this gentle, soft fruitiness that doesn't completely overwhelm the distillate, and ultimately the whiskey still feels quite bright. So really, I think this is one of Kilchoman's better offerings. It's one of the better ones I've had, and I'm a big fan of this brand. I wouldn't rank it quite as highly as the Cognac cask that I reviewed last year. That was a 2023 release. That was a beautiful whiskey. However, that one does come off much younger. So if you're looking for maturity, this is the better option. But I did prefer that Cognac cask, and I also prefer the 100% Islay releases typically. But this one, still up there, still fantastic, and still definitely recommended. So for score, I'm going to give this one 88. I think it gets a lot right. It's a very fine whiskey. I love the twist from the Calvados casks, but we still keep that beautiful house style intact, good intensity, a little softer around the edges. It all just comes together really, really well. Now, before we jump into value, I do want to say a quick thank you to all my patrons, all my channel members. Guys, thank you very much for the support. And if you want to help out, I've got Patreon and PayPal linked down below. This channel is all me, from the scripting to obviously the shooting, the editing. It's a one-man show, so every little bit helps. So yeah, now let's talk about value. So for value, I think this is okay. In my market, it sells for around 100 US, which certainly isn't cheap for a 13-year-old. We do get, an age statement, which is not something we're used to from Kilchoman. Decent 50% ABV, but more importantly, the flavors. I think the flavors really sell this whiskey. I do think it's worthwhile, and I would buy it again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, does bring us to the end of the video. So of course, this is where I put it out to you. Have you tried the Kilchoman 13? What were your thoughts? Maybe you tried the 16 last year. How did they compare? If you bought it, how did you feel about value? All those fun questions. You can put your answers down below. Also down below, you can let me know what you want to see me review down the line, and I will keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.